Viola cut off. What it do? Good Monday morning, my good people. What it do? Don't do, might do, possibly do. I hope that y'all are good. We are streaming today on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you catch me on the after effect, make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on Instagram and also Facebook. Um, I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. I love Mondays. If y'all have not caught my TikToks, follow me on TikTok at the Barefoot Therapist with two T's at the end. Okay. TikTok is like my new favorite thing. What the hell? Where is it? Y'all, I have so many plants in here. I thought I already put my neem oil. What the hell? He's daggone gnats. But anyways, TikTok is my new favorite thing. I was a dancer in my past life in high school and college on a dance team. What it do? My golden tigers, my what were we called? The golden something. Bomb, right? I love dancing. And this is just giving me a platform to do it in a quick 15 to 16 seconds to 60 seconds and live my entire full whole life. So follow me on TikTok if you have not. Um, we're gonna get into love today. We're gonna talk about love today. Make sure you tag a friend, add somebody's name who needs some of this, get them in on the conversation. Make sure we all on the same page. Tag a friend, like it, and let's get into it today. So I've kind of taken this for all of those of you who haven't picked up on it quite yet. The title from, if y'all remember Eve's song, Love is Blind. I love that song for several reasons. But I think one of the coolest things about that song is her storytelling in that song. And I thought about this particular topic because one of the things that likes to be said, just in general socially, is love is blind. When we're in love, we just can't see things. That's not true. It's not blind. It can fucking see. We can see. What I think happens is we get so invested of our idea of this person and what we want and the things that we believe this person is meeting, whatever needs those are, we prioritize those and invest in those over the red flags that we are afraid to address, right? Love is absolutely not blind. We absolutely see those things. I think love is comforting. Love can be um uh create some passiveness. Love can give us things that we prioritize over other things. Uh love, encourages us to make decisions being in love. It can encourage us to make decisions we might not have made otherwise. Love is a very and can be a very intense, life-changing feeling that we get so attached to. It might not even be the person that we're attached to, but we're attached to the feeling we get as a result of our relationship with this person. Does that make sense to y'all? Well, because and again, this makes sense in my mind the way that I try to explain it. But if it doesn't make sense to you, make sure you comment. Let me know if I need to explain a bit more. Because I know, well, how can I be in love with an idea or a concept versus a person? Sometimes people are manifestations of what we want or need. And outside of the actual being, we are attached or invested in whatever it is we believe we're getting from them, and maybe not the whole picture. If that made more sense. And you said, yes, it does. Okay, cool. Um, Love is a very tricky, delicate, fragile experience. It can even be soul changing, right? It can be life changing. It can be one of the most intense, gratifying, satisfying experiences that we ever live to have. And for that, it makes it very dangerous, right? Because it can be addictive. It could be, and when we talk about attachment styles. And a lot of those attachment styles can be highlighted in those streams or experiences of intense love. It can breed trauma, it can breed codependency, it can breed inappropriate coping, it can breed inappropriate interacting, it can breed so many things. On top of the beautiful things, right? It can breed challenges, challenging things or behaviors. And again, it's one of those things where it too is temporary. That intense um feeling of being head first, gut punchingly in love, that too shall pass. And although we may still be in love with our person, you know time also breeds reality. uh it gives us more time to come to what is actually in front of us, who are actually with who they actually are as a whole person, and not just what we want them to be, what we need them to be. So again, love is not at all blind. It actually can see better than all of us. And it can give us the opportunity to experience something that's unfamiliar to us. This is the tricky thing too about love. It can look like so many things, especially if we've been nurtured, raised, grown up to knowing love in a particular fashion. So I want to give you an example. If we've experienced love where hey, my parents love me and they showed me by buying me things. They showed me by providing for me, making sure I had a home to come home to, clothes on my back, food on the table. They weren't necessarily the person who said people who said I love you, or connected physically with hugs or kisses, or close comfort or touch. They were more of the indirect givers. So I may buy you a pair of jeans and that tells you that I love you. I may make sure again you have food, shelter, clothing to communicate love. And most times what happens is we then grow up and express our love in those ways because that's what we know, right? That doesn't mean that that will be our love language, but that may be the language of love that we speak to others. It is absolutely important to learn about our spouse's love language, 100%. The other is to be more important. I'm not saying more importantly, but first and foremost, to be clear about your particular love language. A lot of times, we get in relationships and we're so focused on meeting the needs of others, we're unclear about our own, and it's hard for someone to meet needs that we don't know we have. Does that make sense? It's hard for someone to provide for us, support us, if we don't even know what we need that to look like. So they're just kind of shooting darts in the dark. Hopefully this sticks. Hopefully this sticks. Hopefully that sticks. Hopefully this works for you. Um, and it can become a challenge for the relationship and a long-standing issue over time, because the empathy, compassion, desire, forthright, the all that we may have had in the beginning, it too shall pass. All of the time you spend together, all of the shit that y'all do to each other, all of the influences, all of the hurt feelings, all of the behavior that you see. Oh, wait, that wasn't just a one off. You do this shit in real life as a regular thing. All of those things that we might have had empathy or patience for in the beginning soon lose our patience and our empathy, right? The farther along we get into the relationship, and it becomes more and more challenging to have empathy or patience for those things. And that then influences our perspective of this person when we no longer choose to look at them through our shaded rose colored love glasses. I'm just so in love with you. I just can't see shit that you do wrong. You are the best thing since sliced fucking bread with peanut butter and jelly on it. And you don't have any flaws. There's none. I don't even know where they are. How can I even see those? We can see. Allow yourself the opportunity to see. It gives them a better opportunity to be more successful with you, and it gives you the opportunity to make a really thoughtful assessment, right? And be thoughtfully invested, right? Not just based on what you want for yourself or what you need. See them as a person and as a whole person and what that looks like. And sometimes that takes time. It takes time, and especially depending on when and how you get into the relationship. If you're someone who's been in a series of relationships or marriages or divorces, or you have a series of uh mothers of your children or fathers of your children, all of these varying experiences of relationships influence how, why, and what you experience from being in love, right? All of those things that we carry with us influence our perspective, and it influences our behavior in those relationships. So consider that also. One of the things that I loved about uh the song Love is Blind, like I said a little bit earlier when she was telling the story of her friend, and it was about domestic violence. For all of those of you who have never heard of Love is Blind, I don't know why you wouldn't have, but let's just go with the fact that you didn't. Look it up. It's by Eve. Love is Blind, and it talks about domestic violence. And one of the things that she kind of iterated in this story was, I saw what my friend, not that she didn't see it and she didn't experience it, but she chose otherwise. And why did she choose otherwise? And I don't understand why she chose otherwise, but I'm telling you, you better stop doing whatever you're doing to her. And one of the most heartbreaking points or parts of this story is, you can't stop someone from rolling down a hill that they are determined to go down. That's not something you can do, because the more that you try to push, have y'all ever ran up a hill? Have you guys ever run up a hill? And have you run up a hill against the wind? Have any of you ever did that? Like, you're running and or hell, you may even be walking, whatever your jam is. The more something that has velocity and it's coming down at a high rapid rate, you trying to go against it is not going to go well for you. That is the same thing with this. Be very delicate when you're dealing with your friends. Shoot it straight, but be delicate, and specifically with yourself. You know, sometimes people have to experience things because it helps them make better decisions. We don't have the right to take away their experiences, because how did we learn things, right? I'm sure there have been people who've shared shit with us over the years and we still did what we wanted to do. That's how it works. When you have people in your corner that support you and they love you, they shoot it straight with you. They don't judge you. They don't give you the opportunity to feel ousted or a black sheep for making the decisions you want to make. Those are your decisions. But just know those are also your consequences. It is what it is. When you see rolling down the hill, I'm here to support you. I'll run down the hill and meet you, you know, but I know you have to do this on your own. I don't have the power to stop it anyway. Love is not blind, but it absolutely is powerful as hell. It is powerful as hell. Be clear. It is a very, it can be addicting. It can be this like very intense feeling, am I losing it? Are we breaking up? Shit, I'm having a panic attack. Like, all of that. We've all been there. Heartbreak. We've all been there. When, the idea of us losing whatever this thing is that we believe is life, that we believe is the most beautiful, necessary thing to us. What is happening to my body? I don't know how to control it. I feel overwhelmed. I feel scared. I feel sad. I feel happy. All of these things can be happening all at once, and it can be traumatic even sometimes, to not know what to do with all of it. When you have something happen to you, you feel like it's out of your control, right? And I think that's, again, the double-edged sword. Love is one of those things where it is absolutely out of our control, but also something we absolutely have to manage, you know, uh, how we respond to it, what we do with it. We have to be thoughtful about it. We have to think about what our needs are in it. We have to think about how we're behaving in it, how we're responding to it. Um, because that feeling doesn't last forever. You know, what do they say? You don't make long term decisions based on temporary feelings. That is one of my favorite quotes. I don't know who said it or why, but it's one of my favorites. Because it brings you back to reality. You know, the shit that I'm feeling right now, it too shall pass. There comes a gray space and a space where we come back to what the norm will be, and it's not the same. But we then sometimes have made decisions in this intense phase or feeling phase that we then have to try to walk back, or we have to hold consequences for. So be thoughtful. You know, love is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful gift. It is a privilege to be in love. It is a privilege to experience love. It is one of the beauties that life offers us. And more importantly, loving ourselves. Isn't it interesting that I would want to know how often we experience that kind of feeling, loving others, compared to how we love ourselves or how much we invest in ourselves? How often do we feel that about us? How often, do we feel as intensely about ourselves as we feel being in love with others? And why is it different if it is? Why do we give ourselves a pass to not be as important or not be as necessary or loved or considered? Why is that? Because it does happen. And for whatever reason, I think it happens fairly normally. And that's just a question I have. I wonder, why is that? What do y'all think? Why do you think it's so much easier to love others than to love ourselves? How are we so intentionally blind when it comes to others compared to when we love ourselves? Mm. People's time frame that they have in their head has an impact on that. Yeah. Feeling too old and needing to settle. Boy, I can't see who this is. It just says Facebook user, as you can see. You better talk now. Let me say something. The comment is feeling too old and needing to set. Y'all, it is. I was just in a training. I was just in a training. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Gottman method, it's a really dope. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It is a really dope therapeutic approach that I was doing a training on last week. And we were trained on it in school, but I need a refresher. I'd like to. I did one specifically around affairs and trauma. And it was talking about how, he was giving some information on us as human beings and our need for companionship, and how, most times people will talk about the fact that we don't need it, but in true form of our being, we absolutely are pack animals. We want to connect with others. We want to be in relationships with others. And you look at, when we get older, how our lives can be very different if we are singular, not plural, if that makes sense. If it's just us compared to us being in a relationship with somebody else, we question who's going to take care of us, who's going to support us, who's going to be there when we're sick, who's going to be there to, watch over us or protect us, who's going to be there to feed me when if or when I can't feed myself. We start asking ourselves these questions about long-term companionship. So when we start to get up in age, it becomes more of a race, right? To the, oh shit, what's going to happen? I need to get I need to get someone on my team before my team is just me on my own, and that ain't no damn team. That's just singular, not plural. That can be very scary for folks. I 100% get that. But you also notice in those times people make agreements. We're going to agree to be together and take care of each other, support each other, This is how we're gonna roll with it. It's less about love. I think love is for young folks. The being in love can be for young folks. And not that older people don't get in love. I just think there is a realism that happens, right? What are we doing this for? It's not just about love. That shit is good and all, but that don't pay no bills. That doesn't keep me warm at night. That doesn't make sure I'm safe, our family's safe. That doesn't make sure that you're faithful. That doesn't do any of that shit. Love is good. It is. But it is just that. There's so many other things that contribute to a successful and productive relationship. You better talk. Like I love this. I love this comment. Love it. Wanting a situation so bad that we forget to love us first. 100%. We are the first people we love. Because in us being able to do that, we can make reasonable decisions about how we manage and act in our love for others, right? It would help us be less abusive, help us create less trauma, help us be more thoughtful, considerate, patient, and empathetic. When we can be clear about who we are and be patient with ourselves and love us reasonably, right? Intensely, wholeheartedly. Because we can also, again, influences our perspective and behavior when we're sharing or giving love to others. But I'm gonna tell you too, sometimes the love that we give ourselves is so damn unproductive and harmful. It's only amount of time. It's only amount of time. You know, when we don't really have the tools, we don't really have the tools. It's really that simple. Um, and then you have the folks who have you seen folks who, damn, they do so good, excuse me, taking care of others. They don't do so well at taking care of themselves. They don't, excuse me. I do think that you can love other people and not love yours. That shit gets old. Hear me when I say this. It gets old. It gets exhausting when you are constantly investing, tiring yourself, and giving and sharing with others, and other people are constantly invested in themselves. What's left for you? You still got to go home. That's my phrase. You still got to go home. All that simply means is after all that shit you invested, you got to still got to go home and deal with you. Then what do you have? Then what do you have? If they're gone, what do you have? What do you have? They're going to take care of them, period. If you can't count on shit else I said out of today, just know people will take care of themselves the best way they know how, whether you agree with the way that they do it or not. They will do their best at taking care of themselves. But what about you? You got to go home. You got to go home. And whether or not you admit it to yourself, being Mother Teresa, coming to be Captain Save-A-Hole and all of that, that's great. And that can even be one of your purposes or intentions. That can even be one of the things that the hills that you stand on, that the crosses you bear, because it makes you feel good about you. That's cool. But what else? What else? When you're not saving other people or taking care of other people, what else? What else do you have? Who else are you? What does that look like? What do you have to stand on if it's just other people? There's always going to be somebody who needs saving, including us. What are you standing on? You got to go home. So if you didn't hear anything else that I said, you got to go home. What am I going to do with me? I don't know about you guys, but I think about mortality, and I think about what I want my legacy to look like, what I wanted my life to stand for, what I wanted to be said about me in my obituary, or by my kids, by my husband, or by my friends, or by people who didn't know me much at all. I wanted to be clear that I was who I was in this life. I am who I am, and I stood on that. I lived in all of my glory, good, bad, or indifferent. I want to be known as the person who was free as much as I possibly could be. I was free, and I lived fully and freely, and I was present. And my love for me projected onto others. And I have the opportunity and capability to do that every moment that I still breathe. I want it to be said that I gave to others. I gave and I invested and I supported. But I took best care of me. And by doing that, as a result of that, I was able to give and share so much with other people. I think about mortality a lot. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar, but I do a lot of crisis work. And I do a lot of crisis work that, like, for example, one of the consulting gigs that I have is if there's a disaster or if there's again a crisis at a with a business, let's say somebody passes away, one of the employees pass away or something like that, they can call and have someone like me come out to support the staff. And I so that puts me in a position to think about mortality fairly often, and I constantly question what I'm doing. Am I doing my best by me? Am I doing my best by me? And that usually helps me take accountability for some things, be thoughtful and intentional about my time, and again, love, underlining, I come first. That love comes first from in here first, and it is an everyday intentional journey, and it can be challenging on more some days more than others. It can be hurtful to even try some days, and others I can be down on myself some days, you know and some days I'm the shit, like today. Like today. But it is one of those, like, constant investments. Good morning. I can't see y'all's name, so forgive me. It just says Facebook user on my end. Um, Tag a friend, y'all. Please don't forget to tag someone in this. I want to get more people engaged and involved in the conversation. But I do appreciate y'all's engagement. I do appreciate um, what y'all think. Tell me, what do y'all think? I mean, how have you handled love? And has it been difficult? How have you handled love and has it been difficult? I really want us to converse because love is a really trendy, so it's a constant social topic, needless to say. But how have y'all handled love? Has it always been productive? I hate using always or never, but has it been productive? When have you been unproductive? When have you had to reel it back in because you've gone too damn far? What do y'all think? And great feedback earlier also. Thank you for that, Sabrina. Thank you. What do you guys think? How has love contributed to your life? How has it contributed to how you love you? What does all that look like? Because it can be intimidating and scary and all of those beautifully nuanced feelings. If that's even a way to say it, but that's the way it made sense in my mind. Anyway, it can be interesting, and you know, we can also desire it and yearn for it, and that can be just as not harmful, but just as hurtful and just as sad and agonizing when we don't have it. Again, love is it can be so intense and addictive and all of those beautiful things. Okay. It's not productive when one party is putting forth most the effort. Well, I think the interesting thing about that particular comment is the whys. You know, our love is particularly for us. Have you ever considered that? When you love someone, it's a lot more about you than it is about them. One. Uh, and if if the feelings are not mutual, there's always going to be an imbalance. That's hard to hear, but the imbalance comes from imbalance. Um, and I will also say too, depending on how this person knows or shows or gives love, also influences the experience. So sometimes it's not about whether they are mutually invested or not. Sometimes it's about how they know how to do what you think they should know. Like they don't always know. And they do what they know how to do. Just like we do what we know how to do until we know otherwise. And we have to make intentional choices because it not may not be our natural choice. But you're putting forth effort for the most part for you. Hmm. Is that hard to accept? Because we listen. I think a lot of times because we convince ourselves that it's about other people, it makes us feel better about doing it. But it's not always about other people. Most times it's not about other people, it's about us. And that's okay too. That's okay too. It is what it is. It is what it is. But love is like a fairy. It's just flutters and all those good things. Hmm. I love the comment though. Appreciate that. Do we have any more, y'all? Any more comments, thoughts, ideas? Thank you for that. Comments, thoughts, ideas. Yes, it is. When it's imbalanced, boy, that shit can hurt. Or when they love you so harmfully or unproductively, boy, it could hurt. It could hurt. It could cost you. But there's a lesson. I think in everything that we do, there's a purpose in everything that we do, whether we choose to take that in or not. So, well, I thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to go and pre-order my book, my new book, Disjointed Keeping This Shit Together Journal. Please don't forget to pre-order that. I have something dope as hell coming out for the Christmas holiday. It's going to be limited edition. If you haven't signed up for the in-person talk and workout experience, make sure you register for that. There's limited space. And I will see y'all next Monday. Peace out.